What are the common causes of hypoglycemia? The most common cause of hypoglycemia is, of course, treatment of diabetes. Diabetes medication with insulin, certain oral hypoglycemic agents, or alcohol ingestion is also a very common cause of hypoglycemia. If we see a non-alcoholic on a binge drink and or 2-3 days not taking food properly and he is semi-conscious, sure we are dealing with hypoglycemia in that alcoholic, though he is not a diabetic. Missed or delayed or inadequate meal in a diabetic patient, they would have taken the medicines but they would have missed the meal or they would have delayed the meal for some reason which can trigger hypoglycemia. Or unexpected or unusual physical activity. So what they are normally taking, the same drugs they will take, they would have taken a couple of idlis and then gone for work, and unexpectedly or unusual physical activity if they do, or like climbing a mountain, going on a pilgrimage by foot, all these things might throw them into a situation where the blood glucose will not be able to maintain, will not be able to be in the narrow range, and hypoglycemia sets in. Or errors in OHCA, that is oral hypoglycemic agents, and insulin dosage, schedule and the route. Poorly designed insulin regimens which can result in nocturnal hypoglycemia. Variable insulin absorption. Patients are taking insulin chronically due to lipohypertrophy and lipodystrophy. Insulin erratically may be absorbed from the site where they have injected, which can result in hypoglycemia. Remember one condition called autonomic gastroparesis in diabetes, so much so they take the food but there is no motility of the intestines, so much so the food that they take is not properly absorbed due to gastroparesis and hypoglycemia can result. They would have taken the medicines, the gastroparesis will not allow proper absorption of the food. Or there could be some other conditions like malabsorption, celiac disease, or any other type of malabsorption. Endocrine disorders like hypoadrenalism or Addison's disease can also sometimes cause hypoglycemia. The other most important thing is fictitious hypoglycemia or self-inflicted. They willfully take more of oral hypoglycemic agents or insulin, or by mistake they may swallow these tablets. Another important thing is, if a diabetic mother, she is on insulin or OHCS and is feeding the baby, these medicines are secreted in the breast milk, so much so the infant can suffer hypoglycemia. These are some of the common causes of hypoglycemia, again highlighting that diabetes treatment is the most important cause of hypoglycemia. Of course, alcohol is also a very important cause which we need to remember, and in the next slide we will see some of the rarer causes of hypoglycemia. In this slide we see some of the rare causes of hypoglycemia. Certain drugs other than anti-diabetic drugs like quinine, pentamidine, salicylates, sulfonamides can produce hypoglycemia. Remember, sulfonamides or sulfonylureas are the same group, so they attack the same receptors, and so much so they produce hypoglycemia by stimulating insulin release. Critical illness is another important area, particularly sepsis. During sepsis there will be excess of cytokines. These cytokines increase the insulin activity, so much so the tissues require more of sugar or glucose, tissues withdraw more of sugar, and sepsis thus produces hypoglycemia. Hepatic, we understand, because in liver disease the glycogen breakdown or gluconeogenesis does not take place. Renal, because in the renal front we have the kidney plays an important role in insulin metabolism and the clearance of insulin, and also in the gluconeogenesis, and cardiac conditions. These produce hypoglycemia. Decrease in the hormones such as cortisol due to Addison's disease, growth hormone deficiency, glucagon deficiency, epinephrine deficiency can produce hypoglycemia. Tumors, particularly non-beta cell tumors of the pancreas, multiple endocrine neuropathy number 1 and multiple endocrine neuropathy 2, MAN 1 and MAN 2. These are also sometimes the cause of hypoglycemia. Endogenous hyperinsulinism, insulinoma, ectopic insulin, beta cell disorders, insulin autoantibodies. In children, hyperinsulinism may be there, or there will be deficiency of the enzymes in the glucose metabolic pathway. Reactive or postprandial hypoglycemia is another condition which we will see a little later. It is also called alimentary. Other endogenous hyperinsulinism factors. This is hereditary fructose intolerance, HFI, and galactosemia in children are some of the rarer causes of hypoglycemia. But again and again, remember that the most important cause is treatment of diabetes either with insulin or with oral drugs, particularly the secretagogues. And then, of course, alcohol ingestion and sepsis, and of course, insulinomas and rarer cases. These are the causes of hypoglycemia. So, who is at risk of developing hypoglycemia? Not every diabetic develops hypoglycemia. There are certain risk factors which make a person prone for hypoglycemia. When we attempt for strict glycemic control, we are risking hypoglycemia. When we treat very young and very old people, they are also at risk of hypoglycemia. Type 1 diabetes is more prone for hypoglycemia than type 2 diabetes. And hypoglycemia can be a problem during sleep, because in sleep the urge to take food is cut off, so much so hypoglycemia will not be felt by the person during sleep, and he may be sleeping in hypoglycemic state, and the people around may think that he is in sleep and may not get him up to give some food. Renal impairment, importantly, is a cause of risk factor for hypoglycemia, because during renal impairment insulin clearance is reduced, so much so insulin is available in larger quantities in the blood. That results in hypoglycemia. Decreased awareness of hypoglycemia is a condition which we will see later. In this case, the symptoms of hypoglycemia are not felt by the individual, so much so he will not immediately seek food or help. Increasing duration of diabetes. The longer the duration of diabetes, the more he is prone for hypoglycemia, because the counter-regulatory mechanisms will be at fault. History of previous severe episodes. Suppose patient says that he had 2-3 episodes like this of unconsciousness relieved by taking food, and we can sure suspect that that person is at a higher risk of hypoglycemia. There is another genetic factor called the ACE genotype. ACE has got 3 types of genotypes, out of which one of those genotypes is vulnerable for hypoglycemia, and these are the risk factors for hypoglycemia. If we know these things, we can predict that this individual might go in for hypoglycemia, and then be aware of the fact and also alert the patient about hypoglycemic symptoms. In fact, every diabetic must be educated about hypoglycemia, its symptoms, how it occurs, how to immediately counter at home itself before they arrive at the hospital. That sort of patient education and provider participation are essential to prevent serious episodes of hypoglycemia and attendant morbidity. The greatest limiting factor in diabetes management is hypoglycemia. All of us treat diabetic patients. One thing we always will be worried in our mind is, what if the blood sugar falls to lower levels, particularly in the night time, the patient is asleep, he may have serious hypoglycemia. So much so, we are tempted to see that the blood sugar does not go down too much, and then try to adjust our medicines to the other side, to the wrong side of blood glucose. This is because of the risk of hypoglycemia. But at the same time, if we do not have tight glucose control, we have all the attendant disadvantages of hyperglycemia. So it's a tricky situation wherein we have to keep the blood sugar within the reasonable range and not produce hypoglycemia. And the greatest limiting factor in the diabetes management is, of course, hypoglycemia. What happens if the patient has hypoglycemia? His performance comes down, his risk for accidents increases, particularly road traffic accidents. It may cause anxiety in him that he may become hypoglycemic at any stage, or it may depress him because the treatment is producing repeated episodes. Brain damage can occur if the hypoglycemia is prolonged, and sometimes it may end up in fatality. There may be diminished symptoms over a period of time, and patient may not be aware of hypoglycemia. There will be what is called weight gain or rebound hyperglycemia, because in the vigorous attempt to correct hypoglycemia, patient may go on taking excess of glucose or sugar containing substances. With the result, the weight gain may be there, or there may be rebound hyperglycemia, which will have its adverse effects. So these are some of the consequences of prolonged or recurrent hyperglycemia, and needless to emphasize that the most important tricky situation in diabetes treatment is to keep the patient in normoglycemic state and not allow him to go in for hypoglycemia, and also at the same time reduce the risks of hyperglycemia.